Everybody, welcome to our weekly live Q&A. I was going to say, when I don't even know what day it is. Isn't that bad? I have no idea what day it is. I think it's Wednesday. Um, anyway, I'm Tracy Madsen. I'm a certified professional dog trainer and behavior consultant. And I am excited to be here. So I have, for those of you that come every week, I have some kind of cool news, and I'll explain why I'm doing this from here. So, well, sometimes I do these from home and sometimes I do them at my office. But, oh, Julie, thank you. Today is Wednesday. And let me put you on the list. Jesse, awesome. Um, Jesse, remind me where you're from so I can put you in the drawing. And Julie, I hope it's okay that I just put Julie Kaplan. Anyway, I decided to turn my dining room. Oh, Illinois. I think I knew that. Hi, Brian. Brian, tell me where you're from as well. Sorry if I can't remember some of these. You almost have to come like every week for a month, and then I memorize where you're from. Like I know Julie's from New York, Nicole is from Oklahoma. Um, so I decided. Oh, I think I knew that Montana. Man, I could live in Montana. I love Montana. Although I haven't been there in a while, so it's probably like really growing. But um, anyway, yeah, I love snow, mountains. I can do cold much better than I can do hot. Hi, Kirsten. Kirsten, is this your first time? If it is, welcome. Um, okay, I'm just writing down names. Um, so I decided since I live here by myself with four dogs and a cat, and I never eat at my dining room table, like ever. And it just serves as a collector of mail and kind of like a desk. I decided to turn my dining room into a training room. So um, that clients can meet me. So I have some clients that I don't drive that far, like where they are, and I have clients from out of state. So I do a lot of virtual, and I have a little office up in town, but it's basically just big enough to do virtuals, but not have like an owner and their dog in. The room's really small. Hey, Renee. So I decided to turn my dining room into a training center. And so my dining room table is moved out to the barn, and I'm waiting for the bodybuilders of Camas to move my desk over. But since I've started just moving stuff over gradually, my office is in disarray, and but I don't have a dining room table at the moment to do this. So hey, Karen. Um, so I'm just doing it on my couch on my lap because I have nothing else. But next week is going to be amazing because I'll have my desk. I'll be set up in my dining room, and now I won't even have to leave my house. So, I mean, I will still leave my house to go to clients' houses, but I'll be able to do pretty much everything right from my house. And honestly, my dining room has two dog crates and a cat condo in it anyway, so it might as well be an office or training space. So I am super excited, and I'm getting really impatient. First, I said, "Hey, can you guys help me move this weekend?" And now that I've started like moving stuff back home, now I'm getting kind of impatient. Like I really want to get it set up and organized and everything. And today I was over there just throwing stuff away that I don't need. So I think it's good sometimes to move, just so you can like get rid of stuff. Um, you have a ton of agility equipment. Yeah, I get it. I mean, my dining room literally is where the cat eats. I mean, I do have a separate area for the cat just to eat and go to the bathroom. Um, Mainly because the dogs would be in the kitty litter constantly and eat her food. So I have it that set up, and that's where Willy Wonka sleeps. Um, so it might as well. And um, so yeah, I'm really excited to set it up. So usually when I'm home, I do my lives from the kitchen table because it's a little bit lighter, but this is good enough. Plus, it stays. You're trying, Jesse. I would love your house because that. Well, my house is not child oriented, but it is animal oriented because I never had children, and my brother lives in Virginia, so when his kids were little, they didn't really come over. And other than having kids come over for music lessons when I used to teach, they were all 5 and above. Hi, Cindy. Haven't seen you in a few weeks. And they were all 5 and above. So my house isn't really kid proof, but I guess in a way it is because, I mean, there's really nothing that a child could hurt. And it looks like a daycare anyway because there's toys and stuff all over the place. Okay, so we have our first question. Kirsten, I have a Catahoula mix. The weather here is sometimes very hot or very cold. Any ideas for how to get energy out while inside? Yes. Um, Hi, Tim. Tim. Is it Tim or Tim, or is that two people? And I apologize. At my office, I have the names with where people are from, and Kim or Tim, I can't remember where you're from. So just tell me again. And then once I get everything moved back to my house, I'll have it all. Um, okay, so let me go back and answer questions. Okay, so Kirsten, one of my favorite things to do indoors for energy is a flirt pole. And the reason for that is um, I can usually tire a dog out in 5 to 10 minutes with a flirt pole. And that's because they're running and chasing, and at the same time they get out a lot of species specific behaviors like chasing, grabbing, um, you know, chewing, shaking, all that kind of stuff. So it's very enriching for dogs. There's so much more that's happening for the dog when you do a flirt pole than just, oh, let's just play with this flirt pole. Um, so it's my favorite one to do. And I had a client one time. Sorry, I have to put you guys into the kitchen with me for a second. I had a client one time who said, we cannot wear our puppy out. Our puppy is so crazy that, we just are going nuts. And my first question was, well, why did you get a puppy then? Why didn't you get an older dog? But I mean, I get it. People love puppies, but they do have a lot of energy. So I got out my flirt pole. I have one of the I get the Pupford flirt poles. Those are actually what I use, and that's actually what I sell to my clients. Um, but I brought it in. I have one that I demo with, and after 5 minutes, this puppy crashed, like was so tired. Um, and you get training at the same time. So the way I do it is I ask the dog to sit and wait, and then I start to lower the toy. If the dog goes for the toy, it goes away. And if they sit and wait, it goes down. And then when it hits the floor, then I say, go. And then I start to move it around. You can have the dog chase the toy for as long as you want. I usually go till I get dizzy and I'm about ready to tip over. Then I let the dog grab it. And so then they get to grab it. We play tug. They can shake it. They can do all this stuff. And then I teach a drop it. So I use this as an opportunity to teach drop it. And then I have them sit and wait again. So there's a lot going on. Number one, every day we want to allow our dogs to do behaviors that are specific to dogs, such as nose work, foraging for food, so snuffle mats, treat dispensing toys. Some dogs that are hunting dogs like to grab, shake, that kind of stuff. So rather than having them go after like real animals, um, the flirt pole works just as well. And I can teach a wait and I can teach a drop it. It also helps to like get the dog like really amped up and we're chasing and we're running and then the dog calms down. And then the dog sits and waits again and I start to lower the toy and then we go. So the first time I might do it counterclockwise and then the next time I'll go clockwise. But in the same one, like I don't go back and forth because that can be really bad on a dog's joint. So I go one way and then I go the other way. Um, and it is super fun, um, great outlet for dogs. So I I was reading. Sorry, I'm taking my cousin. Um, I was reading somewhere. Oh no, it was actually a continuing ed webinar that I was looking at, and they were talking about how you actually don't have to leave your house to get exercise. And while some dogs may love to go on walks, some dogs don't. If they're really shy or fearful or don't like to walk on a leash, um, stuff like that. I mean, it's just like some dogs don't like daycare. I mean, just because we think, oh, I need my dog to go to daycare. I have a dog that would hate it. My dog would be terrified if I sent her to daycare. She likes small groups. She plays really well in small groups, and but if I sent her to daycare, she would be terrified. So I don't do it. Um, but again, it's really important that dogs be able to do species specific behaviors. And so a flirt pole is one of those. That's probably my number one go to. My second one is a treat dispensing toy, and that's like the Kong Wobbler, um, the little balls that you put food in, and then they have to roll it around to get the food out. So they're actually pushing it, rolling it, so they're running. They're engaging their brain. So, but they don't run as much as they do with a flirt pole. But let's say your dog, I mean, I think only one time in my whole career have I tried to do a flirt pole with a dog and they did not want to chase. They're like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Um, we ended up being able to teach the dog to do that. So we were able to get the dog to do it. But it's just because the dog was so focused on me having treats, I had to take my treat pouch off and stuff like that. So, um, but yeah, flirt pole would be my first one. Treat dispensing toy would be my second one. Um, and if you haven't um, seen Pupford's soda pup package, I think that's what it's called, soda pup. I just bought one, and they have a ton of like different treat dispensing toys and things like that. So I like the one where the dog actually has to think, move it around, figure out how to get the food out, and then that's mentally tiring. But if you need something, especially for a Catahoula that probably needs a lot of physical and mental exercise, flirt pole. Um, so yeah, does that answer your um, does that answer your question? I mean, I live up in the mountains in Utah, and so we get down in the winter. We have single digits and sometimes below zero, and sometimes we have snow with really harsh winds, and there is no way that I'm going to go take my dogs for a walk. Number one, they would hate it because even though I have pit bulls, they get cold, and if I take them outside, they shiver. Um, and because of where I live, it's closed, guys. You guys can't get out. There, here's somebody barking. Um, because of where I live, there are no sidewalks. And so I would be worried about a car sliding into us and hitting us. So if the weather's bad, I am not going to take my dogs for a walk. So then we do stuff inside. Um, another good one that I like for mental enrichment is a enrichment box. And I have a pile of them in my kitchen right now. Um, and what it is, I'm going to like sit back and make myself comfortable. What an enrichment box is I save my Amazon boxes, Chewy boxes, Pupford boxes, and then I make an enrichment toy out of it. So I will spread peanut butter in it, toss in some kibble and treats, fold it, take a fork and poke some holes in it, and let the dog shred it. Um, that is really enriching for them because, again, they're doing species specific behavior. Try saying that 5 times fast. But they get to like shred and I've never seen a dog actually eat the cardboard. They just get to the treats inside, the peanut butter, and then I pick up the rest. So that's another good one that you can do for inside. And it's a good one for dogs that are chewing on furniture. So my foster dog was at a point where he was starting to chew on my furniture, and it's kind of dark. Let me see if I can get this lighter. Um, he was starting to chew on my. I don't think that helps much. My furniture. He was starting to chew on books because it has the cardboard, top cover. So I started to make him enrichment toys, and we did like 2 a week. And after a week and a half to 2 weeks, he stopped chewing on the furniture because I gave him an outlet for wanting to chew on wood and eat wood. So that's another one that's really enriching. When I worked in rescue, um, we used to do enrichment boxes for the dogs 1 or 2 times a week, and the dogs loved it. They love to just shred and tear things apart. So that's another good one. Kirsten, if you want to email me, and I will put my email. This goes for anybody. If you want to email me at tracy@pupford.com, ask me for my enrichment handout, and I'm happy to send it to you. It'll give you the ideas that I've talked about, and there's probably other ones in there too. But yeah, I'd be happy to send that to you. The nice thing about the flirt poles you can get from Amazon, but you can also get them right from Pupford. They have two kinds. They have a small one for smaller dogs, and they have a large one. I like them both, and really why I bought one from Amazon before I got connected with Pupford, and this just looks like a fishing pole type thing, and it takes up a lot of room. I love the Pupford one, and because it collapses, and you can make it small, so it doesn't take up my whole back seat. So, yeah, that's why I like that one. And you can get different toys to put on the end if you want. So my very first flirt pole, one of the dogs got it, and the squeaker's out now. Because I do a thing in my puppy classes where we have different stages for enrichment. So first, like they do a snuffle mat, then they do a treat dispensing toy, then they do a lick mat, then they do the flirt pole. So one of the dogs got the squeaker out. But from Amazon, you can get just the attachment and like tie or clip it on the end of your flirt pole. So you can get squeaky toys, rope toys, like stuff like that. So that was a really long answer to your question. So I hope that helps. Jesse, oh my goodness, 6 kids, pregnant with number 7, 2 dogs, 4 cats, 14 ball pythons, 2 bearded dragons, 2 ferrets, and 1 bunny. I would love your house. That would be so cool. Um, so we had, growing up, my brother had a python, and he named her Monty after Monty Python before we found out that she was a girl, but we just kept the name. I love bearded dragons too. My so my neighbors had ferrets, and at first I didn't know they had ferrets, and I walked out, and one had escaped and was on my porch, and I screamed because I thought it was a large rat, and I screamed and ran back in my house, and then I look, I'm like, oh wait, that's a ferret. So I called a few people. We found out who owned it, um, and got the ferret back. Kim, oh, it's Kim. Okay, so let me write you. I'm sorry, I have an over 50 brain, so unless I see you like every week, then I sometimes don't remember where people are from. But um, yeah, the rest of you, I could pretty much know where you're from. Um, okay, Cindy. Seriously, nothing going on. Joey is just a smart aleck. Yeah, welcome to my world with mine. Due to his tummy acid reflux and on medication, he has to eat 3 small meals a day. He only eats the canned food. Um, Boiled rotten. Yeah, I get that. So are mine. Um, wow. So you have to go through a whole feeding regimen with your dog. Um, Hi, Brian. Brian, I get it. You know what I was just thinking? Next week it will be at 6, by the way. Um, as much as I really want to like help the Pacific Coast people, we don't really get a ton of people from Pacific time. So 7 is hard for me, even Mountain time, because I have a long day, and by 8 or 8:30, I'm ready for bed. I know that seems bad that it's like what old people do, but I'm like winding down, and I love doing these. Don't get me wrong, I love doing these, but I agree with you. Earlier time is better. So I I may start doing, a 5 or 6 or even maybe 6:30 at the latest. Um, now it's staying lighter longer, and I want to be outside. So yeah, I agree with you. Um, oh, so Cindy, what I was going to tell you is um, my one of my neighbors had a dog with esophagus. Oh, I just forgot the name of it. Esophageal something, but it's where the dog had to eat in almost, it was almost like a high chair. So he had to back in and sit, and then they folded it down, and he'd eat sitting because he couldn't like bend his head down and eat. He had to eat elevated. Um, so yeah, I get it, having to feed a dog like that. Um, okay, Jesse. We have been struggling with teaching bow. Every time we attempt, he will go completely into a lay. Um, yes, I actually do. So there's 2 ways you can do it. And I happen to have Jade in here. And so she does not know bow, but I will show you how I would teach it. Um, with with one of my dogs, what I did is in the morning, when your dog stretches, like he would stretch, and when their front goes down and their back goes up and they stretch. I marked and treated that every time he did it. And I didn't always have a clicker with me, so sometimes I'd just say, yes, good job, and either pet, praise, or treat. And I knew that I wanted to turn it into a trick, so I just made sure that I kind of always had treats around the house. I still do for Jade. Like every night when I'm getting ready, she'll go to the bathroom and sit by the counter because she knows there's treats up there. And we go through this little game every night where I drop stuff and have her pick it up and hand it to me because that's one of her tasks that she has to do. So, so anyway, with Tacoma, I captured it and just reinforced it every single time he did it. And then pretty soon he's like, "Wow, I get rewarded every time I do this." So then he started offering it. And once he started offering it, then I called it take a bow. So he would do it, and as he was doing it, I would say take a bow, and then click treat. So that's one way to do it. I just happen to have my treat bag on me. I usually don't. It's usually in my car, but I kept it on. Um, so let me show you. Just don't know how we're gonna do this. I'm gonna try and set this so you can see her. Let me put Maddie. Hey, Maddie. Okay. I had to put Maddie in her crate so that I don't have any fighting over things. Okay, so can you see Jade? So I'm going to toss a tree because, so did you see that position right there? Before she can lay down, I'm going to stick a treat down here and between her feet. And then I'm going to click right when her default is kind of a lay. So that's why she's going to that. I throw a treat to get her reset. And then I'll put a treat down, slide it back. And then when she's in that position with her elbows down and her butt up, I click and then treat. So does that make sense? That's how I teach it. And then when she can do it more regularly, that's actually only like the second time I've ever done that with her. She does not know it on cue, but that's what I would do. And then if they go right into a down, then just say, um, let's try again. Let's try again. Um, okay, and then what do you mean by something under him he isn't a fan of? Not sure what that means, but like if I'm not fast enough, Jade will like lay down. So I have to when she comes running back, I have the next treat ready and I put it like right in front of her feet and then slide it in towards her so that she follows it in and her legs kind of bend. But since I do it from a standing position, her butt's still up. And then when she's in that position, I like quick treat, like really quick. So that's how I teach it. Give that a try and let me know how it works. Kim, my lab girl has never ending energy. Oh, yes. So that's my Jade, the one that you just saw in the video. She never gets tired, like ever. She could go and go and go and go and never get tired. So, yeah, I get it. I have to wear her out. Luckily, she goes to work with me and helps me with a lot of clients. And so by the time we get home after dinner, like she's kind of ready to call it a night. But it takes a lot to wear her out, so I get it. And she's 3. She's not even like 17 months. She's 3, but she's a wild 3. Um, Brian, I have a 9-month-old Australian cattle dog mutt that likes to jump on everyone. And if we turn our back and ignore her, she will push us forward. How do we get her to stop? Great question. So I kind of went through the same thing with Jade because Jade, what is that? My phone. Jade is a jumper. So part of the problem is that everybody allows her to jump, and they give her attention for it. So even if I say don't let Jade jump on you, they'll like push her off or say, "Oh, get down," and they're still giving her attention. They're interacting with her. So I do have people turn their back, but then I will say Jade off. Or if she jumps on me, I'll say off, and then I'll ask her to sit. And then only when she's sitting does she get attention. Another thing that I do is I teach her an up command. So we will play a game where I'll go like up and she'll jump up, and then I'll say off, and then she gets, and as soon as she gets off, I click and treat, and then I'll ask her to sit, and then the only time she's allowed to jump up is if I say up. If she jumps and I don't say up, then I turn my back and ignore her, and I might say off, or I'll even turn my back and then turn around and say sit, and then once she sits, then she gets attention. But yeah, some dogs will jump on your back. You could totally walk away, go into another room and close the door so that the dog jumping causes you to go away altogether. Um, but if that doesn't work, just think about like what you want your dog to do instead. So instead of jumping, I want you to sit because if you're sitting, you're not jumping. So for um, like barking or biting, I do hand targeting because a dog can't bite or bark while hand targeting because it has to be done with a closed mouth. So I will replace that behavior with hand targeting. And they every time they hand target, they get a treat. So yes, try that. Let me know how that how that works. Um, if I know that I'm going someplace public, I always have Jade on a leash just because I know she's going to jump. And if people say, "Oh, can I pet her? She's so cute," I say yes, as long as she's sitting. But if she jumps, please back away. And so invariably she's going to jump. And so then I'm ready with off, and then sit. And then they can say hi. And I still have to tell her almost every single time off, sit, and then they can give her attention. But another thing that you have to realize, sorry, I'm going to go get a throat, something from my throat. I might have one in my bag. Um, one thing that you have to realize is even if one person reinforces the dog for jumping, then it puts your training back because it's like playing slot machines. I never win, so I don't play slots. Um, and I might go play a roll of nickels, and that's all I'm willing to lose. But I never win, so I don't play. However, I have a friend who plays because he wins just enough time so that it keeps him coming back. So with a dog, even if they get reinforced 1 out of 10 times, they're going to try. So we have to make it so they never get reinforced. And it is hard just because, um, oh, sorry. Hang on. This is the owner of Pupford texting me about something. Um, so we want to set it up so that the dog never gets rewarded for jumping up. So I have to always be on Jade. I have to, whenever we're around people, I have to make sure she's sitting. I have to be ready to tell her off if she jumps up because I don't want her to get rewarded. Now, an example is I used to take her to my office all the time, but the people there that work there, like we all love dogs. We always bring our dogs to work, or to the office, and they love on her and they let her jump. And they wouldn't listen to me when I said, please don't let her jump on you. So I stopped bringing her. And one day they're like, "Where's Jade?" And I'm like, "She can't come because she jumps on you guys, and I can't have her doing that. So she doesn't get to come for a while." And that was my nice way of saying she can't come because you guys encourage her to jump, and I can't have that. So, um, yeah, that's my little spiel on jumping. So, Brian, did that answer your question? Turn your back, and then you can do an off and a sit, and then only give the dog attention while they're sitting. Jesse, mine is the bottle on a rod. They have to spin to dump. Yes, I love that one too. And we used to have one of those at the rescue that I worked at, and I just haven't gotten around to making my own. But for those of you that don't know what that is, the white water bottles or the plastic water bottles that you recycle. Um, you can take one, like not this kind, but the little crinkly clear ones. You can take one of those and toss some kibble and treats in, put the lid on, make some holes with a knife, just big enough for 1 to 2 treats to come out. And and then the dogs like the crunch of the plastic bottle, and then they have to roll it around and figure out how to get the food out. So that's another one. Um, well, okay, you can do that with just the water bottle, but then you can also do one where you put a rod through the bottle, and ours actually like it was almost like a swing set type setup with what's that white piping stuff called? I can't remember, but anyway, you could pretty much make it out of anything. But it looked like kind of a triangle swing set. And then the dog had to like flip so there'd be a rod going right through, and then some kibble and treats in the bottom. And the dog would have to figure out how to tip it upside down to get it to come out. And so it would go around this little rod. And they can either paw it or some would move it with their chin and tip it over, and figure out how to get the treats out. That was one. Dogs loved that when we did that for enrichment. And then when I left Nuzzles, I didn't get to take that with me, and I just haven't built another one. So yes, that's another one. Um, Nicole, my mom's pup was scared of the flirt pole to start with, but I worked slowly with her to get her comfortable. She likes it now. Good job. I know sometimes when you bring it out, depending on the dog, they can be like, "Oh my gosh, what is that?" My dog Hallie would have hated that because she was scared of anything that resembled something that she could be hit with. So sticks, my guitar, my violin, especially my violin bow, she would run away and hide. And so I think a flirt pole at first would have like terrified her. I would have had to do the same thing that you do, Nicole, and getting her used to it and realizing it's fun and it's a game. So good job on we call that changing the dog's emotional response. And so that's a good, at first the dog was afraid of the pole, and then Nicole was able to work slowly and get her comfortable with, and now she likes the pole. So that's all like what we do with behavior modification is we change the dog's emotional response as to how they feel about something. So another training tip that I'll give you. Um, just today, I was working with a Springer Spaniel who doesn't like her harness and doesn't like her nails clipped. So I've been like I'll show the harness and then treat, and then they both go away. Harness, treat. And then I'll get to where I put the harness over my hand and treat, and then get it closer, and then lower her head through the harness. And I've done the same thing with nail clippers. And today I had the harness and the nail clippers on the ground, and I had treats all around it and inside. And then I would kind of move it and move the clippers so they were like just touching her foot and she was taking treats. And then the husband actually said we were able to clip all but 3 nails. And I'm like, yay! Because instead of it being a scary thing, it's like, ooh, that's coming out. That means I get treats. And so that's kind of how you get dogs over fearful things. So good job, Nicole. I'm so proud of you. Um, Kim, we also wrap food, bits of treat in a towel for her to unfold. Yes, that's a great one too. I saw a post with somebody doing that, and I can't remember where that post was that I saw, but yes, that's another really good one. Kirsten, it's just me and the pups here, and I work during the day. He can get destructive with the furniture. Maybe the treat dispenser toy will keep him busy. Yes. So another thing that you can do is before you leave, like hide pieces of kibble around your house so that he has to sniff them out and find them. Um, or do like the Kong wobbler or something and feed him breakfast in that. So you could like not feed him until you get ready to go to work and then give him his Kong wobbler. And while you're gone, he's got to figure out how to get all the food out. Depending on when you can come to let him out, because obviously if he eats after you have already gone, then we don't want him to have an accident in the house. So it depends on if somebody can come in and let him out at a certain time, things like that. But yeah, that would definitely be a good one to do while you're gone. And then Kirsten, are you crate training? Because if your dog is getting destructive, I would actually crate during the day unless your dog has like, and is your dog destroying things because he's bored, or is it like separation anxiety? Because if it's a true case of separation anxiety, that's a whole different thing where we usually have to do meds. At first, you can't leave the dog alone, and then we work up to um, desensitizing the dog to certain departure cues, and then get them used to being left alone a little bit at a time. But if he's just destructive because he's bored, then yeah, I would maybe crate him with a lick mat or a stuffed frozen Kong or something like that. Or, if you have to leave him out, then yes, I would do the treat dispensing toy or hide little pieces of treat all around the house, like behind the leg of a chair, like places where he's got to sniff it out and he's got to use his nose and his brain to find it, but not that he can just see it and take it. Does that make sense? Like my dog Maddie, she's destructive, not with furniture, but she'll eat. Like one time I came home and there were matches all over, and she got them and um, torn the box open, and there were matches all over the place. She's on medication that makes her hungry all the time, so she'll eat things that aren't even food just to chew and stuff like that. So yeah, it depends on like why they're being destructive. Jesse, even a muffin tin with treats in it with tennis balls. Yes, that's another good one. So you get a muffin tin, put some treats on, tennis balls, and then the dogs have to like move the tennis balls to get them out. And that's another really good one. That one usually doesn't, like if you're looking for something long term to last the dog a long time, once they figure out how to do it, they'll do it really quick. So um, that's something I would do with a dog that maybe eats too fast, or you need to keep them busy while you're doing something. That's a great one. But if you want something to tire your dog out quick, or you want something long lasting, I would, do one of the other ones. Um, Anita, I made a bottle with holes that she has to spin to get the kibble out. Um, oh, Anita, that'd be great. Yeah, if you could send that to me, that'd be awesome. Um, and I do a snuffle mat with Jade, talk about like taking her longer to eat. Um, Jade used to eat her food in less than a minute, and then she'd want to eat her sister's food, so I'd have to supervise. So now I feed her in a snuffle mat, and it takes her 9 minutes. 9 minutes to eat 1 cup of food, because she, it takes her a while to sniff and get all those out. But then, if even after she's eaten everything, she's still hunting for the food because it still smells like treats. So then I pick it up because I don't want her to start chewing that. Yes, thank you, Jesse. Yes, Pupford has a good section on their site about enrichment activities. Okay, I gotta get my dogs are barking, and so I'm gonna let them in really quick, and then I'll answer Matthew's question. Hang on just a second. Why are we barking? Sorry about that. I don't like. I let my dogs like bark once, if there's somebody out there, but when they bark over and over and over and over again, my neighbors are actually outside doing something, and so I just bring my dogs in because I don't like them um, barking at the neighbors. Yes, you. Why are you barking at the neighbors? Hey, Jade, stop it. Jade's resource guarding the couch. Did you hear that? That was a little bit of a correction of Jade telling Willie that she's on the couch and she didn't want him getting off. So normally I would like then make her get off the couch, but since I'm doing the live, I'm not going to train my own dogs right now. Matthew, is there an easier way to train your dog on recall than doing the recall mastery? Um, is the recall mastery the one that I filmed with them where it's like 7 days or 30 days um, of recall? Um, recall is one of those that it's really hard to get 100%. So let me tell you what I do. I will start with the dog on a leash. And now, since I've got the other dogs in the house, I can't demo it because I have a resource guarder here. But I will start with the dog on a leash, and I'll toss a treat away, and they'll go to get the treat. And as soon as they turn back towards me, I click, and then I offer a treat, but they have to come all the way up to me to get it. And then I'll throw one again, but I always do it on leash so that if the dog, and first I just do it, all they have to do is turn and orient back towards me because they know I have treats. So I toss, they go get it. As soon as they turn, I click and then show them the treat, but I literally will like put my hand right here with the treat. So they have to get used to coming all the way up to me to get the treat. Then when they're doing it, and I'll throw it in different directions. I'll throw right, left, front, some far, some depending on. Well, I start with a 6-foot leash, and then I do a 20-foot leash, and then a 30-foot, and then I may have the dog drag a leash. Just so if the dog chooses not to orient towards me, then I can pick up the leash and slowly like reel them and help them turn towards me. In which case, then I'll click and treat. So once the dog gets really good at, getting the treat and then turning to come back for more, then I'll say, come. And then when they start to come, I click and then I give them the treat right up to my thigh. So that's how I do it. And Matthew, if you want to email me as well, ask for my recall orientation handout. I'm happy to send it to you. But let's just say I've had Jade for 2 years now, and she does not have a perfect recall. Um, so if I'm not 100% sure that she's going to come, I do not say COME. I will let her off leash at my office sometimes, and when it's time to go, I'll whistle, or I'll say, "Let's go, time to go, I'm leaving you." I'll say something else, and then when she starts to run towards me, then I'll say, "Good, come," because she's coming anyway. But while she's out there sniffing, I know she's going to ignore me, and I don't want to ruin the word. See, why are you resource guarding this couch? Jeez. Um, so I don't want to ruin the cue, and so I only say come if I'm 100% sure the dogs are going to do it. Otherwise, I use something else. And when I am teaching it, it's always on leash so that I can reinforce and reel them in, just to help them learn that come means come all the way to me. Also, when I have taught that, I will have them come get the treat, and then I'll say, "Go play," or like, "Go find it." And so I don't want the dog to ever think that coming to me is a bad thing. It's got to be like, "Oh, I come, I get a treat, and then I get to go play, or I get to go chase another treat," so that it's a game and it's fun. Then sometimes I play hide and seek. Like I'll toss a treat, and then I'll duck behind the wall, and then I'll say, "Come find me." Um, and then when the dog, obviously I don't click for that because I can't see the dog, so I don't know when they're coming. But as soon as they get to me, then I'm like, "Oh, good job, you found me," and then they get a treat. So then with that, you can actually do that outside. Like when we go hiking, sometimes I'll duck behind a bush or a tree, and I'll say, "Come find me," and they're like, "Oh, we're playing the hide and seek game," and so then they'll come find me, get a treat, and then I let them off again. So yeah, there are easy ways to train recall, but it is one of those that takes a lot of repetition for your dog to get it. And the trick is you have to be more exciting than anything else in your dog's environment. So when Jade is in sniff mode, I always joke that she's got to have hound dog in her because her nose is always going. If she's in sniff mode, I don't say COME because I just know she's not going to do it. And when we do practice, I tell people to get their inner teenage girl voice because I'll say, "Oh, good job, let's go, good girl." And I'll, a higher pitch to a dog is like play, like an invitation to play. So you have to be really exciting and, wave your arms, jump up and down, and make it super fun for the dog. Okay, Renee, I've done 2 or 3 solo cups with treats under 1 or 2 for nose work. Yes, that's a great one. I saw another video. Hi, Willow. You are just fine. Glad you joined. I'm going to write your name down. I saw an enrichment game where somebody put a treat under 1 cup and then moved it around. Like we used to do. It's like follow the cup and tell me which one has the dice or the ball under it. Um, they do that, and then the dog has to tell you which one by using their nose. So I think that's what the same one that you do because you're using 2 or 3 cups. Yeah, that's another really good one. Willow, I saw Rio yesterday, and I found out that he humps. How do you redirect him off you? He's an American Pit Bull Terrier. Okay, first, I love that you're maybe going to rescue a Pit Bull Terrier. So we were working with a Pit Bull one time to see if he would work in our service dog program. And he would hump and like wrap around my leg. And so that can be like a stress, nervous energy. There's all kinds of theories out there. It has nothing to do with dominance. as to why a dog does that. What I did is I would just kind of like turn my body away from him and walk away. Um, or I would just say like, hey, and I'd move away from him, turn my back, walk away, but then I would ask him to sit, and then when he'd sit, he'd get a treat and I'd pet him. So depending on, um, oh, okay, now is he humping you or is he humping a dog? I guess I should have asked that first. If he's humping you, that's what I do. I had another person help, so we put him on a leash. And so when he would hump, I would turn my back as the other trainer was saying, hey, off. And then he would get off, we'd ask him to sit, and then he'd get a treat. If he's humping one of the other dogs, then what I do, because this happens in puppy class too, it's just the dog's getting overstimulated. I just say, hey, we don't do that. And then we take the dog off and give them a 1 minute timeout. And that's just so they can decompress because they're overly stimulated. We let them decompress and then they get to go back and play. If they hump again, we just keep doing the same thing. Like they lose that ability to play. Um, and some dogs will correct another dog for humping. So, like if a dog tried to hump one of my dogs, they would turn around and do a quick like not hurt them or bite them, but just like snap at them. And that's good. I mean, they're basically saying, hey, don't hump me. I don't like that. So the dogs usually learn, oh, okay, I can't do that. Depending on the dogs, though, that can sometimes cause a dog fight. Depending on how well the pit bull terrier takes a correction. If he's like, oh, sorry, okay, then all's good. But if he's like, oh, I don't think so, you're not going to correct me like that, then you may have a dog fight. Um, so I would maybe have him drag a leash for a while so that if he starts to hump, you can also redirect him before he has the chance to hump. So have a leash on him, and if you can see that he's about to mount another dog, you can, just gently, not yank him, but gently pull him back with the leash and say, oh, hey, you don't do that, and then ask him to do something else, or give him a 1 minute decompression time, and then let him back in to play. Some of my puppies, in my puppy classes, they get a lot of timeouts because they're either playing too rough or they're humping. And others can go the whole 15 minutes of playing and never need a timeout. So it does depend on the breed. So for sure. Oh, I'm from Iowa. Oh yeah, Willow. I knew you were from Iowa. Let's see. You're waiting for your Pupford package for your German Shepherd. Awesome. Did you get the soda pup package or a different one? Because yeah, I was just down there on Monday or a week from Monday. I don't know how many weeks run together, but I was down there, so I stocked up with a bunch of stuff. Just because if I'm going to be there, then I would rather not pay shipping and just stock up on everything. So I bought 30 bags of treats, snuffle mats, flirt poles, and then some other stuff. Willow, I think it's called engorged or oversized stomach. Yeah, it might be. I'm not exactly sure. I know they called it something. Okay, Sally. Hello, Sally. Let me get these names down. So you guys that are just joining, do you like this time or would you rather do it earlier? Because so far, people are wanting earlier, which I kind of agree. But if some of you guys are Pacific Coast and or need later, then yeah, I'll probably do like one a month where it's later. But by 7 o'clock, like I'm so tired, and I still will do them because I love to do these. But yeah, earlier is better for me too. Okay. I got Sally. I got Julie. Um, yeah, give that a try and see if it works. And then next week, let me know how it goes. Because I'm sure everybody that jumps on like wants to know, did it work? If it doesn't work, I can try and think of something else. And sometimes we have to tweak things. Um, I'm going to work on the bow this week. Yeah, and you know what? I just was thinking, um, if I taught Jade to bow when she meets new people, she won't jump. So I just had this epiphany. So, thinking about it, if I teach her every time you meet a new person, I want you to bow while they pet you, then she's going to be bowing instead of jumping. So it's one of those where you can sit instead of jumping, but if she were bowing instead of jumping, that's even better because her head is farther to the ground and her legs are farther to the ground. Oh my gosh. So now I'm going to try to teach my dog to bow and then teach her to bow when she meets people. So, yeah, let me know how it goes. Karen, we should have a contest and see who can teach their dog the fastest. Although you will probably win because I, when I work all day, when I come home, the last thing I want to do is train. So my only two of my four dogs are trained. Well, one's in training. So I consider one trained, one in training. The other two, nah, they don't get trained. Jesse, you can actually turn that into a really neat trick with paws up and then have um, animal control acting like they are patting them down. Oh, that's cute. That's really cute. I have to try that. Um, Nicole, I had a friend come take care of Wilma one day when taking Moose to training. I asked if she jumped on her and said no. Wilma wanted attention but stayed down. I watched a video of Wilma standing up and friend loving on her, so I understand the people letting her jump up. Oh my gosh. So are you saying that this person lied to you and said no, Wilma didn't jump up, and then you watched the video and saw that Wilma did jump up? Because that would infuriate me. Um, yeah, that would really um, that would make me mad. Whenever I go to clients' houses, I have a few clients who are busy, so they just have me come and work with the dog without them. And I would of course do my job anyway and work with the dog, but I often wonder, it's like, I wonder if there's cameras in here. I wonder if they're watching me. I wonder if they're looking to see what I'm doing or if I'm actually training their dog. So yeah, nowadays with all the technology, it pays to be honest and tell the truth. Otherwise, it will bite you in the butt. Um, okay, Julie, you can use a Gatorade bottle or a soda bottle. Um, yeah, and so sometimes I do use the water bottles, and they do get ripped up. But I use the cheaper ones because the harder plastic can sometimes cut them. When they start to rip them up, the harder plastic could actually cut them. So that's why, yeah, a Gatorade bottle would be great, or I use the really flimsy plastic bottles just because they can rip it up quicker, but it's not going to cut their mouth. Um, Jesse, I just bought one, but yes, you can get crafty. Yeah, I am not crafty, so I buy almost everything. But um, yeah, I was going to make one of the water bottle that spins just so I can show it to puppy class, but so far I haven't had time to do it. Um, oh, we've got lots of questions tonight. You guys are awesome. Kirsten, I'm fortunate to get to come home for lunch. She's a foster fail. Yes, I have one of those too. Um, I tried to crate train. He literally bloodied his nose trying to get out. Okay, so he probably does have separation anxiety then. And what I would do, Kirsten, is go through the Pupford separation anxiety course. Um, I can't remember the name of the trainer that does that course, but I have watched it and it's really good. Because if he's harming himself trying to get out, then he's like in full blown panic mode. And you may have to do medication while you work through the separation anxiety. Um, but yeah, check out that course. And then if he's damaging furniture and stuff, that's probably like that's part of the separation anxiety as well. So, do you have an option of taking him to daycare a few days a week, or um, maybe staying at a friend or neighbor's house? Um, Obviously, like if he's good with other dogs, things like that. Some dogs get anxiety if they are separated from their person. Um, the first dog that I had that had separation anxiety, um, once I figured out that he was okay with the other dogs being there, I could leave him because as long as the other dogs were around, he was totally fine. But if he was like in a room by himself, um, then yeah, he would break out and try to dig himself out of a room. It was really bad. So yeah, I would maybe ask your vet about anxiety meds and um, and then check out that course, the separation anxiety course, because that's gonna help you the most. Okay, one more second. Now the dogs are wanting back outside. Okay, you guys can go out, but no barking. Okay, no barking. You guys can go out, but you can't bark. Okay. Um, Jesse, I had a Dalmatian that acted beautifully when home. He never destroyed or stole anything. Didn't feel he needed crated when we were gone. One time he stole some food. Oh my goodness, and started the stove when we were gone and it began a house fire. Holy cow, did your whole house burn down? That's a good point. I don't think any of my dogs could are big enough to jump up and start the stove, but um, that's a really good point. Um, Luckily, I have one dog that I can just have indoor outdoor privilege, can do whatever she wants because I call her my golden child. She never gets into trouble, never chews anything. She's super chill. Jade is a fence jumper, so she's either with me or in a crate. Willie is incontinent, so he's either in a crate in a diaper or outside. And Maddie's either outside or in the crate because of her medication. She would eat the house. So, yeah, I get it. And when you have a dog that you can just leave in the house and have indoor, like I have a dog door, then man, consider yourself lucky. Anita, still working on drop it. Have to have something else she wants to trade with, so it was so hard to get her to drop it. Yeah, so when I'm doing a trade, um, the 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 object that you're trading has to be of equal or higher value. So if your dog has the flirt pole toy and you're giving a milk bone, the dog's probably going to say, I would rather not have that. I'll keep the toy. But if you offer a piece of cheese, or I usually use the Pupford salmon treats for this because they smell. So it's like, I have a piece of salmon, drop it, and I'll put it right at their nose. And usually they smell the salmon and drop the treat or drop the toy. Then as I'm giving the salmon, I pick up the toy, and then we do it again. So yeah, make sure that the object that you're offering is equal or higher value to do that. Lexi, hello. Let me put you down. Wow, this might be our biggest group yet. I'm so excited. And it's even a late time. Okay, Willow, Gertie has an issue with strangers coming into my house. How do I fix that? Um, so there's a couple of ways. One is you can teach her to like go to her mat and relax, which sounds easier than it is. It takes time to build up to that. So that she goes to her mat and then you can release her to grief. Um, Another one that I like to do is if somebody knocks on the door or rings the doorbell, I like use a cue, such as treats, and run the dog back into another room or a crate, give the really high value treats, and then let the company come in and sit down, and then bring Gertie out on a leash and teach her how to like meet people. And that doesn't mean take her up to people. That means that your guests are going to sit down with treats. You're going to bring Gertie out, and they're going to toss treats to her from a distance. Um, and then um, explain to them, like, don't try to pet her and don't try to handle her, just toss treats. And so that she starts to get this association that when strangers come over, I get yummy treats. But then you don't have to deal with the whole door, right at the door thing. So when the door knocks, that's when you run the dog back. Um, you can give them a frozen lick mat at this point, something fun to do while you're answering the door, letting people in, and then ask them to sit down, give them treats, and then bring Gertie out and let them toss treats to her. So that's where I would start. Um, PM, Sage is showing jealousy with the Beagle Daisy. Oh, yes, I'm dealing with that right now. In fact, um, Jade, Jade's one of those that if I'm petting another dog, she'll come and like form her way in. And a few minutes ago, when Willie walked like just by the couch, Jade snapped at him because he doesn't, she doesn't like anybody else near the couch. Hey, Willie, you want in the crate? Willie, come here. Sorry, it's a little more chaotic when I do these at home. So, um, one thing that I've done is I will have, so let's say, well, first, how is Sage acting jealous? Is it when you pet Daisy? Is it when you are feeding Daisy? Um, One thing that I'll do is I will purposely get one of the dogs um, on my lap and I'll pet them. And as I'm petting them, I'll put Jade in a sit and then I'll treat Jade. So for her just sitting and watching and being calm, I'll pet, like, let's just say Daphne. I'll pet Daphne. Good girl, Jade. Give Jade a treat. So Jade gets a treat for sitting and being calm and um, not practicing that jealous behavior. Um, so, yes, Anita, I did put your name in. So does that make sense? So that when, in fact, I did this with a client not too long ago. They have a little Pomeranian, and whenever the boyfriend sits by her, the dog will come up and bite him. So we kind of did that same thing. Like, um, we had the boyfriend like first sit at the very far end of the couch, and when the dog would look at him, she would get a treat. Look at him and be calm. And then we got closer, 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 closer until he could sit there. And then we would reward Badger for just noticing that the boyfriend was there and not reacting. So you could do the same thing with a dog, but I would have the dogs far enough away so that like they can't react and nothing bad will happen. But I would like give attention to Daisy and then treat Sage. So that Sage gets rewarded for you showing attention to Daisy and her staying calm. Does that make sense? That's how I would start it. Let's see, Anita. I use a toy that was made for lifting the lids to get to the treat, but too easy for her. So now I play with hiding the treat only under a fence of them, so she has to sniff it out. Um, yeah, I mean, nose work is one of the best things you can do for your dog. Because it engages their brain, it releases dopamine in their brain, and again, it lets dogs do species specific behavior, which is foraging, like sniffing out food. It's awesome. So, yeah, good job. Willow, the behaviorist yanked him off me. Good. Yeah, and that's what I would do. I wouldn't yank them, but I would like gently like say, hey, pull them off, and then maybe ask them to do a sit or a down or something, and then you can give attention to the dog when they're sitting or laying down. Willow, I got the large dog package. Oh, good. Cool. You'll have to. Oh, shoot. I wish I could see you guys. It would be so much better if I could see your faces. I was gonna say, show it off next week. Okay. Well, yeah. Everybody else. Oh, Jesse likes this time. Yeah. So I'll probably do one a month at 7, and the rest of them I'll do at 6. Um, so Willie is actually doing great. He has decided he likes the big dog crate, so he goes in there he's in there right now laying with Maddie. Um, he unfortunately doesn't get to sleep in there because he has his waterproof bed and he's incontinent. So even though I have like a diaper liner plus 2 diapers, he still gets his bed, pees on his bed sometimes. Um, and so he gets mad sometimes when I take him out of this crate and put him in his own crate. But yeah, once he's figured out that he can get in the big dog crate, he's in there. But he's doing great. Thanks for asking. I actually, Andrea, hello. Andrea, remind me where you're from again. So I was contacted by one of our local schools about bringing one of my dogs in for some of the special needs students or like some of the at-risk students that are in counseling or just so they can pet a dog during their counseling sessions. And I'm going next week for the first time. I'm super excited about doing this, but I can't decide which dog to take. Maybe you guys can help me. So I have Maddie, who is my gentle giant. She's my 70-pound pit bull. Um, Super chill. And then I have Jade, who's really cute and bubbly, and everybody loves her, but she also jumps and licks and tries to French kiss you. Um, but then I have Willie, who I think kids would love because he's in a cart and has a diaper on, but he's super lovable. So I can't take all 3 of them. I'm really trying to decide. So if you guys, let's say you guys were in a counseling session and you had the opportunity to have a dog in there with you that you could just pet, which dog would you choose? Some of you have seen all my dogs, but some haven't. But yeah, I'm trying to decide. Okay. Let's see, I'll go a few more minutes and then I will do a drawing and then I'll stay and answer a few more questions. Well, how do I get Gertie to shake? So what I do is I will put a treat in my hand and I'll just like tease the dog with it. And I'll say, get it, get it, get it, get it. And I'll move it around. And when they move their paw to stop my hand, I click treat. So then I do it again. I'll take a treat and tease them like, oh, get it, it's over here, get it, get it, get it. And they'll follow it with their nose. And invariably, they'll put their paw up to stop my hand. And then I click and treat. Once they have that down, then I lift my hand up and just then kind of move it, not on the ground. So if this is the ground, I'll move it up here, like, oh, here it is, get it. And then they have to lift their paw higher, and I just shape it. So that's called shaping, where I start from the ground, lift it higher, 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 higher. Um, and then when the dog's doing it every time, then I name it, and I'll say, give me 5, or I'll say shake. So I am sure that there are YouTube videos on how to teach a dog to shake. I don't know one specifically, but I'm sure that there are videos. So that's a pretty easy one. I remember as a kid, we used to pick up our dog's paw and shake it and give a treat. They all learn shake, but that one is actually the least popular method because you're doing the work for the dog and the dog's not learning how to do it themselves. So it may take longer doing that. Um, but yeah, that's also a good one. Jesse, Willow, I usually teach high five first for them to offer the paw and then move into shake. Oh yeah, so she's got a perfect yeah, kind of the same thing. When you have a treat and when the dog like paws at you, you click and treat. Jesse, extra points for using a clicker. I love it. Click and treat. Love it. Um, okay, so Nicole, she knew you had cameras and still said the dog didn't jump on you. I do not get it. Okay. Let's see. I gotta turn my fan on really quick because it's hot in here, and then I'll do a drawing, and then I'll stay and answer questions. Oh my gosh, you guys aren't gonna believe this. I just wanted to turn the fan on, and Willie peed right by the back door. He's incontinent, but I think he kind of knows he's supposed to go potty outside, and sometimes he almost makes it to the back door, and then he doesn't quite make it. But I'll clean it up later. Jesse, there was over $10,000 worth of damage to the kitchen and smoke damage to the rest. The house was inhabitable until repaired. All animals were okay except the guinea pig. Oh, that makes me so sad. Yeah, crate training can be a major safety insurance for your pups. Wow, I'm going to use that with my clients because that's a lot. And then not being able to even stay in your house and the guinea pig didn't make it. Yeah, that's a good point. I have the kind of old stove, the electric ones where the dials are actually on the back of the stove, like not where the dog can jump up and paw on. And I have a baby gate. So here's another thing you could do. I do have a baby gate that gates off my kitchen because Maddie, because of her medication, she can open a cupboard. One time I came home and she had gone through 6 bags of treats. 6. She had diarrhea for 3 days. So I put a baby gate up there so that she doesn't have access to the kitchen when I'm not home. So that's another thing you can do. If you have to, if your dog can break out of a crate or is going to harm themselves being in a crate and you have to leave them out, put a baby gate up so that your dog can't get to the kitchen. Okay, Anita, you like late time. You like late even though you're Eastern time? Because that's later than everybody else. Willow, she growled and nipped my grandma. Yeah, so going back a step, Willow, I would probably condition your dog to a muzzle. Not that, and I like muzzles. I think they're a great tool. And while you're working on this, first of all, if you have, there's a couple things you can do. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to do the drawing. Let me answer this and then I'll do the drawing. One thing you can do is if you know you're going to have company over, you could put your dog in a crate in another room with something fun to do, like today I gave one of my pit bull clients. This dog has stranger danger, and so um, we put the dog back in the crate, but I gave the dog a turbo tendon. And I actually bought these for my dogs, but I had some in my car, so I gave her one. Um, so then the dog goes in the crate, is eating something, and doesn't care. Um, so you could just remove the dog whenever you have company over. Like that's one option. I would also maybe use a muzzle so that as you're going through the training process, your dog can't growl and nip at somebody. I mean, the growl is just a warning. Um, so make sure you don't ever punish your dog for growling, because we want the dog to growl and say, "You're too close. I don't like you that close to me. Don't pet me. Whatever." Um, so I would do some muzzle training while you're working through this. Um, and if your dog actually growled and nipped at your grandma, I would tell you to work with a behavior consultant in your area. Or I can help you virtually, but you can go to the here. I'll type them in here. CCPDC, IAABC, Karen Pryor Academy, Pet Professional Guild, PPG. So all of these entities have a list. They have like a find a trainer, so that you can put in your zip code, and they will list people. You can choose whether you want somebody within 10 miles, 50 miles, 100 miles. Um, so I would actually probably because it's a long answer and it's a long process. So I would actually work with a behavior consultant with that. Will the muzzle keep them from barking? No. Well, it depends on the kind of muzzle. If you're doing a muzzle for like stranger danger and things like that, I like the basket muzzle. They can still bark. The only time they can't bark is if you use the one that goes all the way over their nose, like what they use at the vet. And I don't like those because your dog can't eat, drink, pant, or anything like that. And it's more restrictive. So the dog can still bark in the muzzle. Um, let's see. Okay, let me do a drawing. Oh, actually, we only have, yeah, I'll hurry do one. And then I'll stay and answer questions. Um, okay, let me mix all these up. And tonight's winner is Kirsten Cutzinger from Fort Smith. Is that Arkansas? I don't know all my it's been a long time since I've been in school. I don't know all my abbreviations. I'm just going to put your name in here. So, Kirsten, what you're going to do is you are going to email hello@pupford.com and tell them what kind of treats you want. So, if you haven't tried them, you get to try some. They have salmon. So, the ones that I use regularly, salmon, rabbit, beef liver. They also have chicken and they have sweet potato. So you can choose which one you want. So congratulations. Yeah, Renee, see you next week. Thanks for coming as always. Um, yeah, and hopefully, Brian, when we get back, when I get my office set up here, we'll have Jade start picking names again. And then, Jade loves you. So we'll get you guys winning again. Okay, so going back, Charlie barks constantly if I put him in the other room. Yeah, I mean, some dogs will. So you could, I mean, does your dog still bark if you put in like a lick mat or a stuffed frozen Kong? Um, because if he does, then it could be that he has some like separation distress as well. And I would so Terry, is Charlie like reactive or aggressive to people? Because if he is, then I would do the muzzle training. I would like run him back there. The reason that we run him back, and we use like, I call this like Christmas. So they get a treat that they never ever get any other time except when company comes over. So if I had a reactive or aggressive dog, if there was a knock at the door, I would say like party time, yay, let's go, and I would run the dogs to the back, and they get like freeze dried gizzard or something really disgusting that dogs love, and so they get to go back and have that while I answer the door. Um, and then you could bring your dog out on a muzzle, teach them how to appropriately meet people, which is basically just notice that they're there. You can treat them for calm behavior, have the company throw treats, give them specific instructions. Don't try to pet the dog. Don't look directly at the dog, just toss treats. Um, so yes, I would do that. And at first, you may have to just condition Charlie to hearing a knock or a doorbell. And Pupford has an app that has like all the sounds on it, and so you can start it at a low volume and then slowly increase the volume. And when Charlie hears the sound, it's treat, 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 treat. The sound stops, the treat stops. And then I turn it up a little bit, and then I keep doing that. So I would start with getting him used to the sound of the door knock or the doorbell first. Um, and then, practice running back, giving him bacon, gizzard, like whatever is really high value. And then sit people down, give them instructions of what you want, and then you can bring him out on a leash with a muzzle on. One of my favorite treats to do with a muzzle, or my favorite way, is to do squeeze cheese. And the reason is because you can just stick it right in the muzzle, right in their mouth. Now, for company, I don't want their hands that close to a dog's mouth, even if they have a muzzle on. So I would still have them toss treats because the dog can still get treats through the muzzle. But you can reward the dog with squeeze cheese and just put the tip like right in, and the dog can get the cheese. Um, Terry, I have to crate him or he will scratch the paint off the door. Yeah. Kiko Pup. Oh, I love Kiko Pup, and I didn't know that they had a reactive dog training video, so that's good. Um, I do a reactive dog class, but it's live. I've never tried to do one like virtually like this, but yeah, I might have to check Kiko Pups out as well because I'm always looking for my reactive dog class is probably the class that I change the most all the time. Because as I learn more and learn different things, I always incorporate it into my own class. So thanks for that tip. Um, oh, so Terry, if your dog's not aggressive, um, then you don't really have to run them back. And if it's a cavapoo, I mean, you could probably just pick your dog up. And then I would still get him used to, the sound of the knock, the sound of the doorbell. You can teach him to sit and wait while you let company in. And if he barks or moves, then you close the door. So I always put a sign on the door that says dog in training, thanks for your patience. And just let him know that you might close the door on him. So if he barks, the door closes. If he's calm, the door opens, and then company gets to come in and give him treats. So that's something good that happens. Um, yeah, I will. So everything you've learned is from online trainers, Zach and Kiko. Yeah, I love Kiko Pup too, and Zach George. Um, so I'm trying to think if there's other ones that I follow. Probably. Hey, well, we had a big group tonight and really, really great questions. Thank you guys so much for coming. Oh, I just missed. How did I miss all these? Um, try Willie first. Yeah, Willie. Yeah, so maybe I will try it. Maybe I will take Willie. He'll have to go in like 3 diapers so that he doesn't pee at the school. Um, okay. So anyway, thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you guys next week. I believe I have my calendar. I can just tell you. Plus, I'll post it. Next week is Thursday at 5. Thursday at 5, and then the next one will be Wednesday at 6. Yeah, so next week, Thursday, 5 o'clock, and then the week after that, which will be April 6th, Wednesday at 6 o'clock. So, and I will post them. Okay, everybody have a great night and a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.